Welcome back to Her Voice Collective Season 2. I am Kim and the host of this season. We're moving to a different level. There's women in business, there's women who want to be in business, and then there's the accomplished women in business who've been there, done that, weathered it all, had all the different stories, the horror stories, the happy stories, the joy, and the embodiment. This entire season is about bringing those women's stories that will give you a little bit of a masterclass that you can take back home right now, apply it, and hopefully be inspired to take your next step.
Hi, I'm Trish and I'm here today on Her Voice. So it's been lovely to be here. I'm co-owner, co-founder of Chalk Training Ground. I am a functional nutritionist. I've done online programming. I've done retreats across the Maldives and Thailand. I've created multiple businesses now. I think we're on to 5.
Trish, welcome to Her Voice Collective.
Thank you so much. Great to be here. Thank you for inviting
Great
me.
to see you. It's a pleasure knowing you. I started the gym, people, because of Trish Cadden. We had a conversation years ago, and she spoke of just having sharper shoulders. That stayed with me. I remember that was something that stayed back with me. But today is not about my shoulders, Trisha.
You've sharpened them.
Yeah, I've sharpened them for sure, so we can move past that. Today it's about accomplished women in business. Mm-hmm. So thank you for sharing your time, and very quickly going to share your wisdom with all the women sitting out there saying, I don't want to know just another story, but what is my takeaway?
Yeah.
What is in it for me? And that is our purpose at Her Voice Collective, is not only to inspire people in the air, but bring that knowledge down as grounded steps, tools, replicable things that women can do, or they can be like, hey, that's a red flag in business, or that's a green flag in business, or that's a red flag in you, or a potential partner, and we take it from there.
Sounds good. Sounds great.
So, where did it all start?
Oh gosh, I suppose I'll start from, we could go way back, but I'll start from the Dubai side of things. So arrived to Dubai, it must have been, it's 2017 now, to open my first business, which was the Vault Total Conditioning. Wow. That was based in Al Quoz. What seemed like a fairy tale to start quickly turned into a bit of a nightmare. And that took us a year to get off the ground, a year to actually open the doors.
Wow.
So myself and my partner landed to Dubai, into the sand, into temporary accommodation, and then put our heart and soul into something that 12 months later was still not open. So we opened already a little bit worse for wear, but we made it through it, and we built the brand from there on. From there, we went into our second brand, which was the Vault Performance Fitness. And then from there, we made our major brand, which is the one that's standing now in Palm Jumeirah, Chalk Training Ground, which we're super proud of and was always the end goal. I wouldn't say it's the end goal, but it's the brand and the stature is exactly what we've always wanted.
You mentioned that it took you 1 year. Did you anticipate it would take that long the first time?
Not in a million years. When I landed, I thought we were 6 weeks away from opening.
Really?
Yeah. So it was struggles. It was being in a warehouse without 8C. It was dealing with construction workers day in, day out. It was worrying about finances. It was having little to live on. It was long hours with no reward. It was quiet work that nobody saw.
Yeah.
So, you reflect and you look back at those times, and I, hand on heart, I'm not sure anybody could get through those times. They'd be like, this is too hard. There's easier ways to make money. There's easier ways to seek fulfillment. Yeah. But for us, we had a creative vision, and we believed in what we were doing and what we wanted to create. And we really believed that wasn't out there the way that we could make it. And we persevered, and then that opened and COVID happened, and we persevered again. And we had a healthy food business that we launched and was fantastically successful. Crazy transformations through that. I'm a functional nutritionist, so everything was probably over and above articulated individually. So that was a lot of private work as well. But to this day, I will say, and anybody who was ever on that plan can hand on heart say that the transformations that they physically achieved during that period on it, some people were on it for a year or two, were insane. So everything that we did and everything that we intend to do has always been done with heart and a lot of integrity. And I think that's probably the real win. Everything else falls to the side. The trends fall to the side. The celebrations on opening day. Yeah. Once you've done 1 or 2 opening days, you realise that there's nothing to celebrate on opening day. It's the day that the work only begins. Yeah. You think you've accomplished so much work to get to that big event. And really that big event is just the start of a whole new era of work. But then you just become better at handling all of those steps.
So if you would go back to 2017 with the experience, life experience you have, business experience you have today, what would you do differently, if at all?
It's hard to change, to look back on the past. I try and take the lessons from it rather than try and look back and change them. But to swivel on that a little bit, I would have known my worth a little bit more. I would have pushed back more and known that there was other options. There was far more options for better investment that we could have, during those years and those months of struggle, probably implemented that work into something that actually ended up as being larger and more warranted for what it was. Because even when we did open, and it was hugely successful, and I love people having a smile on their face talking about the stories of vault days, and there's these vaulters around Dubai, and they know what chalk is. Chalk is kind of vault. So it's this kind of impression that people have. So although I love the memories that everybody has, and I hold that with deep integrity, I do know in my heart of hearts that we could have had that a lot better from day one if we had just had a bit more belief in ourselves and the avenues that were available to us. But arriving into a country that we'd never lived in and a culture that we'd never deeply understood before, and we'd so many parameters, and we were very nervous to do things wrong. Very nervous. So, we were probably a little bit innocent as well. Yeah, but
I like
it taught
you
us a
said
lot.
all of that. Thank you, Trish, for being so honest. I think that's something we've always shared, that there's no hiding. And I've come to believe that kind of presence to share your story as is always coming from a sense of acceptance. That if you accept yourself and you're no longer judging yourself for that part of you, it's easy to talk about it.
Absolutely. At the time, it might have been harder for me to talk about, because you're trying to shield yourself, or you're trying to create an external view or vision. And everything these days is social media and who's got the best algorithm on Instagram, and et cetera, and you try and keep up with that. You try and keep up with appearance.
It's kind of the denial is a coping mechanism to say no, it's not wrong. I'm not on the wrong path.
It's working.
I've sacrificed so much. I've put in so much of money. I don't even want to accept that there's potentially another way.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember when we had to close that business. Thankfully, at that point, we had moved forward and we had a second business that had an option for people to move over to. And if I look at every stage in the business life I've had in Dubai, almost to the wall, almost to the week of one collapsing, something has been there to allow me to flow forward. It's you couldn't make it up if you tried. But I remember in one point when we did have to walk away from something that externally was really successful, you have a lot of external opinions coming at you through that, which are hard to take. You have your family's wishes and wants. They see that the work that you've put in, they see that you've had no voice for 2 years. They've seen that you've suffered burnout and given up on many other things in life. And you can't walk away until you've got X, Y, and Z and a house and this, that, and the other, or at least of all, whatever you're owed from it. Yeah,
absolutely.
But that's the stealer of joy as well, because if you stay in something for what you're hoping to get out of it, you'll be in the same position in 5 or 10 years. And I've learned to call it far sooner now and understand to take the ego out of it. So when you're in a grassroots environment, I can see it. Yeah.
And that is what, as women, we need to remember. I've seen, and tell me whether you've seen the same thing, that women stay in denial a little bit more
Yeah.
because we function out of a little bit of the pink glasses that I can make it work and I got this and I can do it. And the masculine, a man, can still see that, no, we're already in the gutter,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. And you think of yourself, you think of your partners, you think of your staff, you think of the people that benefit from your brand or from whatever it is that you offer. And if what you offer is something that's making their lives better, even if it's making your life worse, women to
will
some
still
degree,
do it.
we will stick with it. We're carers, we're nurturers. But we can't.
Yeah.
We can't.
So with that, what would be your first part of the masterclass for women in business?
Yeah.
When do you know that it's time to exit? Even if you put in all the nurturing, you put in the
Yes.
money, or it's a relationship, like you said just a bit ago, that we tend to stick there because we've sacrificed, we've got something to prove, we've got,
Yeah.
maybe it's ourselves, right, that I've put in so much, it's going to turn around, it's going to turn around.
It's going to turn
Where
around.
is that line of denial? Where is that line of lies that we want to tell ourselves, thinking that it's going to change versus this is a fact and give
Yeah.
yourself permission for it?
So there's different ways to look at it, because in some ways you can see a business that externally is thriving and it could do very well if it had the backing and the infrastructure that is necessary. But if the infrastructure is only you, your capacity is only so much. So if you don't have the capacity to grow your team and your base and your infrastructure, then it's never going to progress. And if the revenue that's coming in isn't enough to enable you to do that, short term, long term, it's going to be, you're in the same environment. It needs a total rehaul, a brand renewal, a new strategy. It needs a whole new investment structure. And if it means starting from scratch to get that right, that's going to last 20, 30 years, that equity is far greater in the long term. So if you need to cut one to start another, it's the only way forward. So,
Amazing.
yeah, I would say that there's a big difference between building a brand and building a business. One gets all the likes on social media and one pays the bills. One pays the payroll.
Wow. That's a moment.
Yeah.
Because we've been told you are the brand.
Yeah.
Build yourself, that you walk into the room and that's what matters.
Constantly. Yeah.
And you're telling me quite the opposite.
I don't believe that. Yeah, I believe there's time and space for both. But people delivering themselves as a brand and boosting Instagram posts and having your marketing agency for you as the brand is it's almost false leadership, and it's a false impression, because you can have all the likes and it can be thriving on Instagram, but half of your team may not be paid. So the business pays the payroll, and it's not as beautiful as and shiny as the Instagram profile, but it does the job.
I think that brings me exactly to the next part of this, is the myths of business. Because exactly what you said, Trish, there's a difference between brand and likes and being known in the market versus really having the capacity to run the business, really having the skill sets, having all the behind the scenes abilities to run a business. So what are the myths that you think all our women out there running businesses need to know?
I think there are so many myths, but I would say one of the major ones is that business gets easier. It doesn't get easier. You just get far better with handling different situations with empathy and control and confidence. And it only comes from dealing with the harder circumstances.
Yeah.
You can have your coffee at 9 a.m. and by 12 midday, you're already pivoting your business into different avenues in order to have your finances correct by the end of the month, so everybody else gets what they want. Nobody sees that. Nobody from the forefront sees that. They just see another day. Another myth, well, it's more, I suppose, a positive myth, because people try and say, don't take it personally. But when you're exposed within a brand and everything is about creating a warm environment or a better lifestyle for the people that access it, you cannot not, if you put your heart and soul into something, you can't not take it personally, because it's so personal. But there's something very powerful in that. And I think if you flip that, it's not a negative, it's a very positive, because the business is your heart and soul.
Yeah.
So it's you taking it personal and you being the personality behind that hopefully flows into your staff and all of the warmth and all of the energy that everybody else feels. Well, that is your superpower as well.
And true, I say that about you. I said that on your birthday as well, that
Yes.
you have made Chalk a safe place because nobody comes in there to work out. Many people, we do have shame attached to the weight, attached to your personal best, attached to, things that you spoke about later, after the high rocks, that creating a space that is a safe space, non-judgmental, because we do have a little bit of a cyclic journey.
Absolutely.
You go super high and then you're like, I don't know what happened. And sometimes you're not meant to know what happened, but you just want to show up and come back in. So that does echo in all of Chalk, at least what I've seen in the few people that I've chatted with.
That's so amazing to hear. But that's always the way we wanted it to be. We wanted it to be something that's elite, but that's highly accessible, that's motivational, but inspirational. So you can see the other people in the gym and they're completely fit and they're very competitive and they're very motivated. Take that as inspiration that they all started in the same place and that's where you could be, but also without the ego. That when you walk into Chalk, it feels like perhaps you're walking into your living room.
True.
We want that kind of warm, open, down-to-earth environment. So, I mean, you can't cover all bases, but you can try your best.
Part of business is people.
Yeah.
Most leaders that I speak to, Trish, they can get their numbers, they can get big bids, they can handle any situation. But the part where they want to tear their hair off is, does their team do the same? Is their comprehension of what you communicate or what is discussed and agreed on, is it the same? How do you handle that? And do you have any top 3 suggestions that the women in business can choose?
Do you mean to your staff if you're trying to implement some strategies or rules of conduct, let's say?
Rules of conduct, strategies, that everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
Because you are made through your experiences, right? Your character gets built, parts of you gets broken, and then you're like, I want this to be a non-ego, non-judgmental place, and we do things quickly. And how do you choose staff, one? And how do you know when someone has it in them that you can build it over time?
Yeah.
How do you know that this person has to be let gone off? It's a very tough one.
It's a really tough one. Staff is the hardest part of business. That's across the board. I think that any person in business would agree with that. And they can impact your business in a positive way or a negative way so easily, and it only takes one.
Yeah.
And when, like, for someone like me that's on the ground and in the middle of it every day, it's really hard because you can see it straight away, and it's 1% out of 100. 1% of negative energy in a room bleeds across the other 99%. It's the very same with staff. And I would say that I have in the past been too empathetic and waited too long to make bigger moves. And it's impacted the staff. You have to be, and it's impacted the environment of the business. Unfortunately, you have to be a little bit of a hard ass. You have to make hard decisions before the person next to you would, because that's a part of being a leader. And it's part of protecting yourself, your brand, your identity, and your staff. The only regret that I would ever have is not making the moves that I would have made maybe 6 to 12 months too late, a lot sooner. And I'm getting better.
I think that's a very powerful message for women in business, because we're so embedded in that terminology of empathy. And I've said this in my trainings, leadership trainings, that empathy without accountability is stupidity.
Yes.
You can't be empathetic and not have someone to still have accountability, because then that's going to lead to the same result.
Exactly.
And you're stupid as a leader, it's not them.
Exactly right.
You let it happen,
fool me once,
right?
shame on me. Yes,
Exactly.
honestly. So to go back to your point, I will always spot a good person. I will always know pretty soon after the first few interviews. When we bring them on, the skill set can be taught, and we're very hands-on. So everybody gets that skill set is taught. And when somebody comes into our business, because we're a gym, so people come in and they experience that energy straight away. There will always be opinions, and there will always be opinions on the junior. So myself and my partner need the belief system in their personality, in their motives, and in their integrity. That's basically it, and in their vision for what we do as a business. If they love the way that we train and they seek to learn, that's literally all they really need to have. A really great personality, care about people, care about us, and we will deliver the rest. Every single time somebody has joined us and they've maybe had that feedback of why are they in the gym, or they're a little bit junior, or this, that and the other, within 6 months they get it. And they forget what they'd said at the start. They forget the bad feedback that we took on, but we would always keep that private to the staff as well, because everything about that build-up is creating their confidence, which they very much need to deliver a powerful class to 30 or 40 high level athletes and
if at all I know
gym
who you're
goers.
talking about, they're amazing.
They're all amazing.
They're amazing. And I've told them specifically, like, I love the leadership they exhibit.
They're so good. Yeah.
They're
And
so amazing.
sometimes even for people who join us, if they've come with a little bit of experience or they've come for another gym environment, that's equally as hard. In some ways, it's easier to have somebody from an
Brand new,
intern
yeah.
up. Yes. Because it takes them a while and a few mistakes to understand the difference between us and the Globo gyms or the CrossFit gyms type of environments. But once they do and it clicks into place, you can see it straight away. You can see it with the way that they train or interact with people or deliver the classes or understand the programming and the way that we have it. And once that all falls into place, everything's great. And just once you've just got a genuine love for training. And we are very happy with the staff we have at the moment, and long may it last, and long may hopefully they can grow with us into more senior positions. And that's the way we always want it to be, that as we grow, that they grow with us. At some points you just can't grow sometimes fast enough to get the team as big as you would want it. So it's always one of those struggles. And that is absolutely daily. But if you can just keep the energy positive, and keep the interactions open door policy, that they can reach out to me or my partner direct through the operations manager or anything. So we're always the face behind any engagement that's happened or anything that's implemented. So I think that helps a lot, that they're able to come and engage with us.
Access you.
I
have probably the toughest question for today.
Okay.
Do you fire any of your clients?
Do I fire
your clients? Like, you're like, listen.
Well, we've come close. I think you need to be able to fire clients in a gym environment, especially because, again, I know I've come down to energy a lot, but people have fast lives in Dubai. They've got, growing families. They've probably got stressors in work. When they come into a gym environment, that's the one thing that we have to keep that face, because even if we're not having a great day or any of our staff aren't having a great day, they have that show face. That's
welcoming.
Absolutely. And that can be tough for some people. But that needs to be considered across the floor environment as well, that there's a respect for the other people in the room, the energy that they bring to the room, the lifestyle and the stressors that's behind that. And if there's one person that consistently engages in trying to bring either fellow members down or the coach down, we'll have to interact with them direct. Once we interact with them 3 or 4 times, we kind of say, usually it works itself out, or they leave, or they might have a little bit of a yap publicly about us, which sometimes is hard to take as well, because we'll never release any of that information. We never will. But the brand is prominent enough and strong enough to stand for itself now. We used to get a little bit more nervous in earlier years, in every respect, because you think, people don't know us across the Dubai scene. If anybody has any bad experience, people only hear that side. They don't see or feel our side or see all the incredible things that we do. Likewise, if somebody comes in and tries to take your IP and use it in another gym or build a gym because they've got this powerful investment in Dubai, it's always bigger and better every time. So you worry, you're like, we're the little guys and we're just using, the revenue and the growth that we have naturally to build. So when in early days, we were definitely a little bit more concerned and nervous of people taking our classes and using them in other gyms.
I'm so happy that you're here, Trish, because just through a conversation that's not a listicle, you're clearly demarcating what do we do earlier on versus what do we do when you're an accomplished business after a couple of years in.
Yes.
Everything you're saying is just echoing the difference between when we start off, we're like, client is king and this is king and I'm going to kill myself. I'm available 24/7. Call me anytime. Versus saying, nope, here's what are we grounded into in our values.
Yeah.
Money is more important than the brand. I mean, not money. What did you say? Business.
Yeah.
You build a business and then you balance that out.
Absolutely. You know, people used to say as well, when you mention finance and revenue, that why don't you open up your gym for everybody? Why don't you have it more like a global gym or a Les Mills style classes that everybody will come in and you'll fill the gym with more numbers? And that's where the integrity comes in, because that's not why we're in the business. We're in the business to create something that we feel is different and powerful and the next level to what's available and in the Dubai landscape. And that's exactly what we did. So when everything else is tough, you can hold on to that.
Exactly.
You need something to hold on to. You need a clutch when things are bad. Because if you don't respect what you're doing with every inch of yourself, well, what's it all for when it's hard? Because the money doesn't come fast. The return does not come fast. It takes years and years and years. Even still, we're still on the growth phase. So if you can't hold on to the love of what you do and the deep-rooted joy in that you created something that wasn't there before, yes, people will copy. And yes, it will become a little bit more diluted. But were you the first? And are you still creating? And are you still trying to be ahead?
And people come for you.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're on to the part of what you take away. I'm going to hand over to Trish, who's going to share as an accomplished woman in business. And when I say accomplished, it has been there, done that, whether it had no money, had lots of money, had questions, didn't have questions. She's going to share her mini masterclass, what to do, what not to do. Over to you, Trish.
Thank you, Kim. Here are 3 tips for women in business. Number 1, invest in a mentor. When things are not so glamorous, you will be thrilled you had somebody to discuss the nitty-gritty, daily, rigorous chores with. Number 2 is to have a financial strategy. Plan for the unseen. There will always be hiccups, and always you're going to want to be positive with how great your business will be, and it will be, but it will only be if you plan for the unforeseen. So always have KPIs in place, have budgets in place, and have staff management processes in place. And number 3, having a inner circle, a very trusted inner circle, is worth its weight in gold. To have somebody that you can discuss what's going on within the staff issues, discuss ideas that you may have. As entrepreneurs, we can tend to be daydreamers, which is great, and it is a superpower. But to have somebody very trusted, or a group of people very trusted, that you can bounce ideas back and forth, could be absolutely mind-blowing for your success if you allow it to be. The worst thing you can be as an entrepreneur is alone. And the 3 don'ts in business. 1 is to not wish for quick returns. Yes, you can hope for the best, but again, the likelihood is that the market will ebb and flow, staff will change, you may need to pivot your ideas, and that is okay. So just remember, don't hope that everything is going to be perfect and linear at all times. Embrace the chaos. And number 2 is to try and please everybody in every moment, including staff, including members of the public and customers. You are only one person and your capacity is only so much. So remember to fill your own cup at all times. And the more that your own cup is filled, the more rational you will be to everybody else, and the more that you can strategize different ideas that make everybody happier with whatever issues they may have. So just remember, you come first, your vision comes first, and your staff will, and everybody around you will only benefit from you. Okay, and the last one, which is a double one, is don't be naive, but it also is don't be afraid to pivot. Naivety is sometimes the stealer of joy, because everything is not going to be perfect at all times. And that's the beauty of it. The beauty is how you navigate your landscape. So remember, you can always change. Don't allow your ego to stop you going into different areas. At the end of the day, nobody really cares from the outside what's happening to you and your business. The emphasis, the energy and the love and the integrity is on your side. So whatever it takes for you to create that success for you and everybody around you, be prepared to do that. Obviously within reason, but be prepared to use all of your benefits, all of your pros in business, all of your capabilities to your advantage and play on them.
Trish, that was so good. Like, I'm sitting with a little mental note that, very naive. I need to have a business plan, which I have now, but
Yeah.
there's so much in that. And thank you for that, because again, as women, my favorite word, right? My favorite statement. We're unicorn flying, parting rainbows. We're like, my business, my passion. I
Yes.
believe in me. I believe in this. And that groundedness is in the numbers.
Yes. I think we are so afraid of being judged that it can have us in chains. It can stop us from pivoting when we need to. It can stop us from taking a leap when it's time to. The more you conquer little hardships, the more you realize you just make those moves when you need to. You don't wait. Yeah. You make the leap straight away. If COVID taught us anything, it was that as well.
I think the other part of being judged is also being liked.
Yes.
A lot of us, and again, women have that. Am I liked? Am I received well?
Yeah.
Or what are people saying behind me?
Yeah.
You know?
And you know what? They're saying something anyway. They're saying so. You can be the nicest person in the world, and you know what? The nicer you are, the more likely they are to talk about you. When you're a little bit more, when you've respect for yourself and you've boundaries for yourself, people respect those boundaries more. And I've learned that the older I get as well.
Very
so
true.
People are going to talk regardless if you're the nicest person and the biggest pushover in the world. So you may as well protect yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
Trish, what makes Trish Trish? What are your values? What do you
My
value
values?
into?
I am, in my heart and soul, an empath, for sure. For sure. I do feel people. I feel energy innately. I do want to create and I do want to care for people and nurture people. But I also now, with maturity and a little bit more wisdom in me, I can understand that I don't need to strive for trends. I don't need the ego boost of big algorithms or likes.
That's nice.
And there's a joy and a contentment in that. And it makes me a better leader.
You're self-assured.
Self-assured, and I push other people to the front. They can have the limelight, the work is done behind the scenes, but I think there's a big power in that.
I think that pretty much sums up the difference between someone starting off and someone that's been there, weathered it out, is we were chatting the other day, you take yourself out of the equation.
Yeah.
It's not about you anymore.
It's not. It's the business. It's about the business.
It's about the business. It's about the gift you have to share with others.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you attribute that to my face or my name, as long as you receive it.
Exactly.
And I'm sitting on a yacht somewhere, I don't care.
But we know where the work is done.
Yeah.
So the perception can be that this is all at the forefront of the business and the business is X, Y, and Z. But you have to let go of controlling the perception and managing the perception and wanting it to be you. Because for it to be you and for the business to strive, you have to do the actual things that keep the business going. You have to be, because that's a full-time job. I can be in front of the camera taking, pictures, and I know I should do that probably a little bit more, but there's, there's endless hours of work to do behind the scenes just for the functionality of the business and the operations of the business and the future of the business and the growth of the business. And that's everything that everybody hasn't seen. People come into Chalk and they walk in through those doors, their mind doesn't go across the landscape of Vault Performance Fitness, Trish and Frankie in a 50-degree warehouse lifting weights out of their boxes for hours and hours and,
Wow.
16, 18 hours.
I didn't know that.
For a year before anyone even knew we existed out here, or then opening a business to a landscape that didn't know us from anywhere and making that work, living in a hotel for 2 months when we were opening our second business in Business Bay, because we had to give up our home and our cars to open that business. And that was when we were thriving from the outside. That was when we were 3 or 4 years into business. So it's very easy for people to have the perception of walking in and thinking, this is the business. It's not the business. And I know that in my heart and soul, so I don't need to push myself on anybody, you know?
I think that's the fun of the journey. That leads to the self-assuredness.
Yeah.
Because you've had the sacrifice, you've given up the perception, the need to control the narrative of how you're perceived. And that cannot be taken away. I mean, people can hear this and hopefully be inspired, but it's when they reach that part and you go through that bottleneck of life and life lessons, that's when you can land into self-assuredness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Trish, this is amazing. Last time, your pitch, is there anything you want to advise or invite people to your page, to Chalk Training Ground?
Absolutely.
It's your
I
table.
guess, thank you, Kim. So it's been lovely to be here. I'm the co-owner, co-founder of Chalk Training Ground. You will find us at Chalk Training Ground on Instagram, and chalktrainingground.com is our website. And my Instagram handle is Trish Cadden Fitness. And on there you will see some snippets of my life and Chalk's life and online training and hybrid athletics, I guess, and everything in between, a lot of messiness. So I am always creating. I am a functional nutritionist. I've done online programming. I've done retreats across the Maldives and Thailand. I've created multiple businesses now. I think we're on to 5. So I consult as well for new businesses and entrepreneurs. And yeah, I think that's it. What's next? There's a lot of projects and experiences coming up over the next year at least. I'm currently working on our year's calendar for an experience collective of various athletic experiences outdoors in Dubai and across different venues. So that should be really exciting. And beyond that, just happy to be here and talk about the past that I've had, and hopefully help a lady to conquer whatever it is that you have in your mind to do. Don't hold back in it. There's no time like the present. If you have to pivot, if you have to change your direction, that's okay, but there's no point in never trying. I know I could never have lived with that. So even now, looking back on my ebbs and flows and the peaks and the troughs, I still wouldn't take a moment of it back. I wouldn't take a moment of it back. It's led me to where I am today, and it's given me the confidence to do what I want to do tomorrow. So